Joyquilts. We're going to be doing a pattern we call Smoke on this jelly roll quilt. Jelly roll quilts are 2.5-inch pre-cut strips that you sew together, and it can be a jelly roll race because people can do it really quickly, and they can be any size or length of strips that you want. So we're going to get started on this. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is snap to a point on the quilt, which is where I want to start, where it ended last. Sorry, and we're going to reload the next design. Okay, so that's what we did over here. We chose the point here, which was the first row of, or the first stitch of the last row, and then told the machine that that is where it needs to start stitching. So it's asking now whether I want to start at the start point or the closest point in the design. The time that we would use closest point in the design is when we would have a thread break or something unforeseen happens and we need to go back into the quilt at a certain specific spot. So now it's moved to the first position, or the first stitch of the next row. What I'm going to do is go over and pick up the bobbin thread. Another thing you have to be careful of is if you hold that top thread too tightly when you're pulling up the bobbin thread, you can break a needle. So I'm sure you figured out how I know that. So one thing that I wanted to kind of mention is the different kinds of backing that you can use on a quilt. This particular quilt has something called fireside. You can kind of see it on the back roll behind the dead part. Fireside is sort of like minky, which means it's stretchy. So when you load it on the frame, you have to load the salvages to the side. Otherwise, the whole thing bags and sags and will drip down under and pucker like crazy. So it really stretches more one way than the other. So as long as you load it properly, you're good. Different backings make different problems for the quilter, but as long as you know what you're dealing with, you can set it up in advance. Minky is also a little difficult to quilt with. You just have to go maybe a little bit slower and use maybe a little bit wider open pattern. Kind of like flannel. Sometimes on a flannel quilt, we won't tight it really, really close, or quilt it really tightly because it's kind of got a little bit of play in the fabric and tends to pucker really easily when you push it into a small area. I'm going to speed this up a little bit because it seems to be handling fireside really well. The top is batik, and we don't usually have a problem mixing batik and anything else. Basically, batik is just a hand-dyed cotton. But this fireside on the back is probably 100% polyester, I'm guessing. It'll just give it a really nice warm feeling. Using a blue polysheen thread, top and bottom same color. Again, it's 40 weight, so it's a little heavier than the actual piecing thread. Well, often use piecing thread. Our favorite one is Orifil. It's a 50 weight 3-ply cotton, and it goes really nicely through the machine. But a lot of these quilts, if they're going to be washed a lot or used by kids, you really want to give them a strong thread. And the polysheen is probably the strongest of all of them and doesn't bleach out. This design is called Smoke on the Water. It's a clear image of the stitching on Facebook, but for a change we thought we would do a view of the whole quilt. Saturday morning quilting. Joyquilts, joyquilts.com, Facebook, Instagram, Hotmail.